This video will deal with the importance of project management. Now, project management is the means of delivering the end product or service to the client or stakeholder. So, project management holds a key role in any organization. It's the project manager's job to ensure that the product or service that was requested by the customer or by the client or the stakeholder, however you want to classify this agency, this purchaser. But that product or service must be delivered on time, it must be good quality, and it must address the requirements of the client or stakeholder. So project management is a key function within organizations. All projects must follow a scientific and structured methodology in order to achieve successful outcomes. In other words, projects must be structured and must be logical. There must be a reason as to why particular processes are sequenced in the way they are, or there must be a logic or a compelling reason as to why resources are used the way they are. And it's the function of the project manager to monitor this, to look into the project and see what can be done to improve it in terms of cost saving, in terms of meeting the deadlines. In other words, how can the product be better qualified to meet the shareholders' requirements? How can the quality of the project or of the product be improved? The basic steps involved in project management include establishing project requirements and project scope. In other words, looking at what the project is about, what are the requirements of the project, and what does it cover exactly? What are its limits? What is it focused on? And it's the job of the project manager to try and control the project so that it meets the requirements and also focuses in on what its objectives are. It's important to set clear, defined project objectives and goals. Without clarity, the project will drift. It'll become vague, and there'll be misunderstandings and disputes within the team as to what's required. So there must be clarity in direction. And again, it falls to the project manager to ensure that there is such clarity. Ensuring all project activities meet time, quality, and budget requirements. It's very important that projects meet the time constraint. If they were promised for delivery at a certain date, they should meet that. The quality should be as agreed, and the budget requirements, it should come in on budget. Whatever was estimated for the cost of the project, that's what it should be. It shouldn't be more than that. There shouldn't be drift on the budget. The importance of project management theories, processes, tools and techniques allows organizations and individuals to prosecute successful projects. So there are many tools in the project manager's toolbox. There's Gantt charts and different ways in which meetings can be constructed and feedback mechanisms, and there are different ways in which projects can be approached. But it's important that the project manager is aware of these and knows how to effectively harness them so that the organization benefits from a good quality outcome that's within budget, on time, and meets the requirements as set out in the initial proposal for the project. A project management framework provides a defined method and structure to ensure all projects are carried out within the expected time, budget and quality to achieve successful execution. So that's a restatement of what we've had, but that is so important. It's essential that the project meets the budget requirements, meets the quality requirements, it comes in on time, and it's successfully delivered. In addition to that, there are other parts that are not mentioned here, but the team that work on it, the project management team that work on the project, will gain from the experience of so doing, so that subsequent projects will benefit from that expertise. But it's important that the requirements of the project are met. That's the essential point. Project management tools and techniques allow for effective control, monitoring and progress. So we need to look into project management tools. I mentioned some just a moment ago, Gantt charts and effective communications channels, report back sessions, seeking out information, data collection and analysis. There are many techniques that can be employed, and the person running the project should be familiar with these. The success of a project is dependent on the manager's ability to work within the triple constraints. Now, the triple constraints are time, scope and cost. It's important to make a note of these. These are essential within the area of project management. It's important to know what the triple constraints are: time, scope and cost. These are very important constraints. Projects should be delivered on time. They should focus in on what the project is aiming to achieve, and they should be within cost. Without project management processes and systems, project managers will struggle to maintain control, and more room for a chaotic and unpredictable environment will emerge. So it's important that the project management team have a consensus about what tools to use, how to monitor costs and time, and look at the scope of the project. And it's important that there is consensus, there is agreement amongst them, and that they're able to focus in on this and control these variables. It's often represented as a little triangle with cost, scope and time at the apexes, and quality, of course, which is what it's all about, quality in the center. Control of cost, scope and time should bring about good quality. Now, the triple constraints. Well, project managers must balance all three constraints: time, cost and scope, in order to produce a good quality project. So the project managers must balance the three of them. They must be able to control the three variables: time, cost and scope. If either constraint is in conflict, this will impact on the project. So if the project is starting to run over time, then there may be a situation where the project manager has to commit more resources, which of course will impact on costs. A project can be delayed due to unforeseeable factors, and this may impact on the quality of the project. The project may, if it's over time, there's a tendency perhaps to rush the project, which will impair the quality of the product. Quality may be affected if there is a limited budget. There may be little time to get quality expertise in on the job, or the raw materials may be compromised in some way, or some cost savings are introduced, which again may impact on the quality of the product. The project may require more funding, and this may lead to investigations by senior management, inquiries and meetings and reports, and but the project simply may need more funding. Scope of the project may be unrealistic and cannot be achieved. Sometimes projects start off with a limited scope just to look at some aspect of a particular product or a particular production process. But over time, that's extended. So extra parts are added on so that the scope of the project is extended. And this, of course, will have impacts on the budget, how much is available to fund this extension, and also the time. It may not be delivered on time because of these additions. So time, well, the development of a project timeline detailing all activities and completion dates. That's important. A timeline indicating the key events that can be anticipated, when they're likely to happen, the dates, and what leads up to them. The scope, the breadth of the project, the level of impact the project will have on business operations, details of project outline and purpose. So the scope of the project should be stated at the start, and there should be an effort made to try and hold it to what it was set at the start. And the cost, budget requirements and costs of the project to ensure successful completion. It's important that it is adequately funded. Otherwise, it will not be achieved. There will be cost cutting, and parts may slip through which are not right or which will lead to error. So it's important that these three are monitored. And if the three are monitored and appropriate, there should be good quality. So these are the triple constraints. Now, innovation and project management. Well, successful project management plays a key role in developing innovation. Project management is looking at projects, and through the analysis of projects may come up with ideas about how to improve the throughput of a product or a production system, and will request perhaps that new ways of working or new machinery, new technology be introduced. So the adaptation of innovation, the adoption of innovation may be promoted through project management. A project can result in innovation such as a new product, processes, or scientific research. So sometimes a project, when the project manager is working through it, they realize that a new project can be developed off it. Now that's an innovation. Or it could be to come up with a new way of working, a new process. Again, an innovation. Or it may draw on some sort of scientific research, apply that research and come up with a new way of working. Over the years, innovative businesses have become a big part of the UK economy. Innovative industries grow faster, more successful, productive and competitive. So the modern world has a more focused emphasis on innovation and the need for innovation. It's not something that's fought, it's something that's sought. So modern industry is constantly looking out for innovation, and project management, in looking at projects, this may be a good area for ideas, a good area for suggestions for new products or new ways of working or new technologies in the workplace. Now, the advantages of project management. Well, it provides clear goals and scope for a project. Excuse me. So that's clearly desirable. It's desirable that projects should have clarity, and there should be clear goals and scope for a project. Improved communications and allocation of roles and responsibilities for project members. Well, it's important that project members should be able to communicate easily with each other, and they should have clear designations as to who they are, what they're doing, what their responsibilities are. It's important that there is clarity within the work team as to who is responsible for what, and there's clear communications within the work team. Project management processes help identify and correct errors as soon as or before they arise. Project management processes, in looking at the project, there is an expert team that have been brought in to look at the project. So it's reasonable to expect that expert team to identify errors and problems and issues in a timely manner and put in some remedial processes and actions to avoid breakdown or avoid lengthy costs or jeopardy to the whole project. So project management processes help to identify and correct errors in an early and timely fashion. Improve relationships between functions and activities within the project. It's clearly the case that if a project is running and there's a good team working on the project, they will not just be focused on the project, which of course is their primary concern, but they will also be looking at where the project is going to go upon completion. So there will be improved relationships between functions and activities within the project. Different parts of the team will make contact with the client at the end to ensure that the client can receive the project when it's completed, can use it efficiently. There will be sufficient training and sufficient instructions as to how the project will be delivered and worked, and there will be good relationships within the team and also within that wider community, perhaps the functional areas within the business. Continuous monitoring and feedback allows or ensures projects are progressing. It's imperative that there is good feedback and good monitoring right throughout the process to ensure that no parts are falling behind or there is misinformation between the parts which could lead to error or breakdown. So good monitoring and good feedback and good communications promotes this type of efficiency within the project. Now, the disadvantage of project management. Well, complex projects plans are at higher risk of failure as objectives might be unrealistic. Sometimes projects can be very complex and it pushes the project team to their limits, to their technical limits, to their work limits as to how to go about delivering the project. And there may be issues of worries about failure, morale within the team as a consequence. And the objectives may not be realistic. They may not be required in the first place. So it's important that at the outset that the management ensure that the project is required, it's important, and that the team understand what's required, and it is achievable. Project management is a costly process and can become labour intensive if it's a larger scale project. So project managers are key members of the management team, and they engage in looking at many projects perhaps within the organization, and therefore their numbers may increase so that project management becomes a very large part of the overall management team. And that could be a costly exercise for the business. So there is an issue about controlling projects, controlling the design of projects and what's expected from the project managers and the teams that they assemble, the expertise, the quality of the teams, the budgets that have been allocated. It's necessary for management not just to put a project management team together, but to look critically at the resources that is going to be absorbed in that team and look at the number of teams that they may need. Miscommunications between project members can have a negative impact on the overall project and its success. It's absolutely vital that there is clarity in the communication system. The clarity should be perhaps in written form so that it's clearly understood by the recipient. It could be perhaps who could be perhaps asked to sign it off and return it to show that they've understood it. But miscommunications can be very costly. It can mean costly delays in the project or even failure of the project. So it's important that there is clear communications within the team. Project management systems do not account for unforeseeable risks. Not all projects will achieve or meet their deadlines. We live in a risky world. Sometimes suppliers can't meet the orders that they've been given. Sometimes people working within the organization simply do not have the skills or the competencies required to do particular tasks. They should be trained or helped to perform these tasks. Sometimes there are simply risks from new technology that's coming in and that has to be understood. There's risk of failure at every corner in the exercise. And it's the duty of the project manager, of course, to identify these risks, if possible, and to take action to sidestep the issues should they arise. But it's not an easy task. So those are some of the issues that we can talk about in terms of project management and look at the importance of project management. It's quite a detailed video. It's worth going over again, making some of your own notes from the video, stopping it, rewinding it and so on. But that's all I'm going to do here, so let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.